Okay, Dean, we're ready.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Hammond Plan Commission for Monday, September 21st, 2020. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I would ask if you do stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to stand away from your phone so we don't have to look at your midsection. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mrs. Morris-Smith, could I please have a roll call of commissioners?
Roger Brock,
Here.
Dean Button,
Here.
Alex D'Lo,
Here.
Michael Dye, Ann Herbert, here, William Hutton,
Here.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Here.
Dan Spitali,
Here.
Sharon Zaney. Here. Present, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Mrs. Morris-Smith. The next item on the agenda is a motion to approve the meeting minutes for two meetings. That would be the minutes, well, we'll take one at a time. Do I have a motion for approval of the meeting minutes for April 23rd, 2020? You've all had a chance to review.
So moved.
Second.
And
It's been moved by Commissioner Herbert, seconded by Councilman Spitali to approve the minutes for April 23rd. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? I would just mention that I have a problem with my my computer dropped out. Are we still okay, Ray?
Yeah, I see you, Dean. I still see everybody here.
Okay, sorry about that. I would just mention that our attorney has also joined us, Dave Westland. There's been a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes for April 23rd. I guess I would ask for a roll call. Mrs. Morris-Smith? No roll call is needed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. I would entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of June the 29th of 2020.
I'll make the motion.
Councilman Spitali. Sharon Zaney, Commissioner Zaney seconds the motion. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is old business. I don't see any old business listed on the agenda. Next item is new business. Item number CP 20-08 is a petition of Stephen R. and Kathy Jo Shea for approval of a two-lot subdivision known as Williams Garden Addition to the city of Hammond, located at 609, 611, and 615 Roosevelt Drive within the city of Hammond. I would ask Mrs. Morris-Smith if the notification requirements have been met.
they have.
They have, and I would ask the petitioner to make a presentation to the Plan Commission.
Mr. President, this
Mr.
is,
Poland.
yeah, just for a correction, just that one of the there's a third joint petitioner, Thomas Kammerer, and the Shays are basically doing the presentation on his behalf for all three of the different owners.
Thank you. Are the Shays available to make a presentation on the petition?
This is Steve Shea, and I'm here with my wife, Kathy Jo Shea, and Thomas Kammerer.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Basically, this is a petition to split an undeveloped lot and move some to Tom Kammerer's, and combine some to Tom Kammerer's lot and some to our existing lot. And I guess it's simple as that. If there's any questions.
Are there any questions for the petitioner from the commission? Seeing none. Mr. Poland, would you like to make any comments, or do we need to go to the public hearing at this time?
It kind of, I mean, it's been clarified that there's two different property owners. One of the property that's being split, according to the county records, is owned by Mrs. Shea by herself. She and her husband own jointly the lot on the east of that, and Mr. Kammerer, owns the lot on the west of it. So that's some of the technicalities when it comes to dividing Mrs. Shea's lot and how the property gets split based on how the county records are going to be picking up on it. So there is some technicalities when it comes to the underlying transfer deeds prior to the recording of the subdivision.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Poland? I think now it's appropriate to ask if there's anyone from the public. We'll open a public meeting, a public hearing on this plat of subdivision Williams Garden. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor of the plat of subdivision? Anyone from the public wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone from the public wishing to speak or make a comment regarding this subdivision? I see no comments or questions. Last call. Public hearing is now closed. Petitioner have anything more they wish to add?
No, I think we're all set. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Poland, would you like to make a further staff report, or do you feel your comments are sufficient?
Just kind of for the record, that ultimately this is going to be a two-lot subdivision in its final form. One lot will be over almost 9,400 square feet. The other lot will be 15,600 square feet, and those exceed the minimum lot size requirements for the R1 district. There's no new streets being proposed. All the utilities exist within the alley and the street. And then, of course, building setbacks are subject to the zoning regulations. We did not receive any objections from any of the review agencies. I did make my statement about the ownership question and how that needs to be addressed from the deed standpoint of how that property gets transferred prior to the subdivision being recorded. With that being said, staff does recommend the Plan Commission grant preliminary and final approval of the Williams Garden Addition subdivision plat, subject to that conveyance of the property prior to the recording of the plat. And then if the Plan Commission agrees, that the staff requests the Plan Commission adopt this report as its findings of fact.
Any question from the commissioners of Mr. Poland? Any questions?
Just have a question for Brian. What's the frontage to make it a legit residential property? What's the frontage have to be?
In an R1 district, it's a minimum of 60 feet frontage.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Spitali. Councilman Spitali, sorry. Any other further questions for Mr. Poland? If there are none, and there's no objection by the commission for me to read the motion, I would entertain a motion of the commission to grant preliminary and final approval of the Williams Garden Addition subdivision plat subject to the conveyance of the property prior to recording of the subdivision plat. Is there such a motion?
I'll make the
Make-
motion. I'll second, Roger.
Commissioner, thank you. Commissioner Kazmierzak moves. Commissioner Brock seconds the motion. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? I would ask Mrs. Morris-Smith to make a roll call on this motion.
Pratt,
Yes.
Dean Button,
Yes.
Alex Stilo,
Yes.
Ann Herbert,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Yes.
Dan Spitali,
Yes.
Sharon Zaney.
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions. Motion passed.
Thank you. And I would also entertain a motion that the commission adopt the staff report as a finding of fact. Is there such a motion?
So moved, Ann Herbert.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Herbert, seconded by Councilman Spitali for adopting the staff report as a finding of fact. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call, please, Mrs. Morris-Smith.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Dean Button,
Yes.
Alex Stilo,
Yes.
Ann Herbert,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Yes.
Dan Spitali,
Yes.
Sharon Zaney.
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions. Motion passed.
Thank you, Mrs. Morris-Smith. Congratulations to the Shays and Mr. Kammerer. Appreciate your time for being here and look forward to future endeavors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next item on the agenda is item number CP-20-09, a petition of the Plan Commission to amend the text of the zoning ordinance number 9461, Oxbow Landing Overlay District, also known as zoning ordinance 8514, section 29.20 I'm sorry, I don't know what that is, which is located at 2911 and 2929 Carlson Drive within the city of Hammond. The ordinance amending does not modify any existing penalty or forfeiture provisions. I would ask,
Mr. President?
yes, Mr. Poland, please help me out here.
Yeah. Et sec is Latin for basically, and what follows in sequence.
It follows in sequence. Thank you.
Yes, that's
Appreciate that.
a rough translation. We would also ask that, I was trying to get your attention. I was hoping to try and call CP 2010 first. So if we could reverse the order of the two petitions at this point, that would be my request.
I would entertain a motion by the commission to suspend the order of the agenda. Is there such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Councilman
Second.
Spitali, so moved. Commissioner Brock seconds. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? All opposed, motion carries. We will now call item number CP 20-10, petition of 2929 Carlson Drive LLC and 2901 Outlots LLC for approval of a two-lot subdivision known as Oxbow Landing 5th addition to the city of Hammond, located at 2911 and 2929 Carlson Drive within the city of Hammond. I would ask Mrs. Morris-Smith if the notification requirements of this petition have been met.
Yes, they have.
Thank you. I would ask the petitioner if they would like to make a presentation.
Sorry, I was having a hard time getting unmute.
No problem.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Catherine Harris with ATG Real Estate Development, representing 2929 Carlson Drive LLC and 2901 Outlots LLC. We're here this evening to request re-subdivision of Lot 1 and Lot 6 of Oxbow 3rd Edition. We are requesting the re-subdivision in order to enlarge Lot 6. Our new lot sizes for Lot 1 will be 2.6 acres and Lot 6 is 0.95 acres. Our request to enlarge Lot 6 is to accommodate a new 14,000 square foot office building, which will complement our current development. We have addressed setbacks and parking. They've been reviewed and addressed in the overlay district language. Additionally, all easement releases have been reviewed, approved, and obtained from all agencies and have been recorded. Those are already listed on the plats, and Brian Poland is in receipt of those plats.
Please forgive me, Mrs. Harris. I did not recognize you on the screen, and so I apologize for not greeting you earlier. Thank you. I don't know what got over me, but thank you. Is there any comments or questions for Mrs. Harris regarding the petition at this point? Okay, I don't see any questions. Mr. Poland, would you like to make any comments or statements before we open the public meeting, public hearing session?
Sure. Just to kind of augment Mrs. Harris's comments, the easement releases were related to an access and utility easement that is bisected by the current property line between the two lots. Once the lots boundaries are changed and that former lot 6 is expanded, that access easement would be basically in the center of the lot and would make the construction of the new building impossible. So that is the reason for the release of both it's both a utility easement and an access easement. And so that will, again, like I said, will allow for that property to be properly developed.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Poland? Seeing none, I would request that we open the meeting to a public hearing on this matter. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on behalf of or in favor of this petition? Anyone from the public wishing to speak in opposition of this petition? Anyone from the public wishing to comment on this petition? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Any other further questions from the comments from the petitioner?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Poland, can we have a staff report?
Yes. Again, this is a two-lot subdivision. It's realigning the property line that currently separates the two lots. There were no objections that were received from the review agencies. As was previously stated by Mrs. Harris, all of the easement releases have been provided and are recorded. And therefore, staff would recommend that the Plan Commission grant preliminary and final approval of the Oxbow Landing 5th Edition subdivision plat. And I'm going to delete my that last phrase that's in my report so there'd be no subject to. If the Plan Commission agrees, then staff requests that the Plan Commission adopt this amended staff report as its findings of fact.
Thank you, Mr. Poland. Any questions for Mr. Poland from the commissioners? Any questions? No? Then I would entertain a motion, if the commissioners don't object, to have the commission grant preliminary and final approval of the Oxbow Landing 5th Edition subdivision plat. Is there such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Councilman Spitali, is there a second?
I'll second.
I believe the second was, I heard from Commissioner Kazmierzak. Motion's been made by Councilman Spitali, seconded by Councilman Kazmierzak, for approval of preliminary and final approval of the Oxbow Landing 5th Edition subdivision plat. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Mrs. Morris Smith, roll call, please.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Dean Button,
Yes.
Alex D'Lo,
Yes.
Ann Herbert,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Yes.
Dan Spitali,
Yes.
Sharon Zaney,
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you. And can I get a motion to accept the staff report as a finding of fact?
So
I'll
moved.
make,
Dan
Alex, I'll
Herbert.
make the motion.
Moved by Commissioner D'Lo. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Spitali. Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call, Mrs. Morris Smith?
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Dean Button,
Yes.
Alex D'Lo,
Yes.
Ann Herbert,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Yes.
Dan Spitali,
Yes.
Sharon Zaney,
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Congratulations to the petitioner. I would now ask that we have a motion for returning to the regular order of business.
I'll make that motion.
Councilman Spitali moves. Is there a second?
I'll second. Roger Brock.
Commissioner Brock, thank you very much. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. Returning to CP 20-09. Petition by the Planning Commission to amend the text of the zoning ordinance number 9461 Oxbow Landing Overlay District, also known as the zoning ordinance 8514, section 29.20 Exequa, which is located at 2911 and 2929 Carlson Drive within the city of Hammond. The ordinance amendment does not modify any existing penalty or forfeiture provisions. Mr. Poland, is it appropriate for the petitioner to make a comment at this time?
Actually, Mr. President, I am going to be acting as the petitioner and the reviewer.
Wonderful. Will you, is there any objection from the commissioners to have our Director of City Planning act as both the petitioner and the staff in this time? Any objection? No objection. Please proceed, Mr. Poland.
Okay. The overlay district is something that was created several years ago in regards to the original 2 lots of this subdivision. And since then, the property has been divided several times, and we are now, or re-subdivided several times. We are now at the 5th edition, as what we had just recently, or this previously approved. The overlay district sets up additional regulations that are above the base C4 general commercial zoning regulations. This is, what's being presented tonight is the second text amendment to the original ordinance that created the overlay district. That ordinance being 9405. And the reason for this text amendment is based on the approval of the subdivision that we just had, as well as some of the developmental provisions related to the office building that is currently being proposed and how that gets translated into the text of the overlay district. So in general, the amendments to the text of the ordinance affects the references to the legal description. It amends some of the setbacks. It changes the height, and I do see an error in my staff report, but it changes the height of the, that was allowed on the new lot that was created. And then there's some unnecessary provisions that were being deleted. So the, I guess that concludes the presentation portion of it.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. I would ask, I'm sorry, Mrs. Moore-Smith, was the notification requirements on this petition met?
Yes, they were.
Thank you very much. Okay, is there any questions of Mr. Poland as the petitioner from the commission? Any questions?
Mr. President,
Mr. Hutton, Commissioner Hutton, please.
thank you. Hey, Brian, I think this is all good stuff, and it's all good for not only the developer, but the users and of course, the city of Hammond. The question I have is, when you talk about a change from a 4-story building to a 5-story building, is there a maximum height that we have in the ordinance?
Well, yeah, and actually that is the nature of the, first of all, I'll make the technical correction that I should have made in the staff report. It is a 3-story office building.
Sorry.
That was my mistake. The 5-story hotel was the first amendment, but it's within the text itself. It actually gives the height, and that is part of in your packet. You do have the ordinance.
Okay.
And it is in section 292007, where it refers to that the height is going to be a maximum of 45 feet. 3 stories or 40, well, I mean, it's going to be a 3-story building, but it'd be a maximum height of 45 feet.
Am I not, I'm looking at CP 2009. I'm looking down on the first page. It says the amendments to the overlay district, and it talks about changing the building height.
Right, and that where it said you're referring to the language that says 5-story hotel.
Yes.
That is what I explained. That is I made that correction.
Oh, it's okay. I got it now. I'm with you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hutton. For clarity, Brian, could you help the commissioners with the section that you're referring to, the correction, and what the correction is, please?
Well, yeah, in the act, okay, on the staff report, it's number 3, delete the reference to 5-story hotel and change it to 3-story office building. And then in the ordinance itself that's attached to the staff report, it is on the third page of that attachment under section 292007, item D, and it is the third provision under there where it says it's a lot 2, Oxbow Landing, 5th edition, 45 feet.
Thank you very much. Hopefully that's clear to the commissioners, and I really do appreciate you clarifying, Brian. Okay, let's see. We've done both the petitioner's presentation and staff review. I guess at this point it's appropriate to open the public hearing portion of this petition. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Is there anyone in the audience wishing to comment on this petition? Being none, Mr. Poland, do you have any more comments on behalf of the petitioner?
No, not any comments as a petitioner, no.
Any questions for Mr. Poland as a petitioner? Thank you. Okay, can we get a staff report and recommendation, please?
Yes, as I switch hats here, I assume everybody understands with all the corrections that they've had to explain, but again, this is to amend the overlay district just to correspond to the new development and the new subdivision that was approved. Therefore, staff recommends that the Plan Commission approve the amendments to the text of ordinances 9405 and 9461 and section 29.20 et sec of the Hammond zoning ordinance 8514 and send the amending ordinance to City Council with a favorable recommendation. And then should you agree with this, adopt the amended staff report as the findings of fact.
Thank you, Mr. Poland. Any questions from the commissioners to Mr. Poland as staff? Any questions? Being none, and if the commissioners so allow me, I would entertain a motion of the commission to approve the amendments of the text of ordinance 94-05 and 9461 and section 29.20 et sec of the Hammond zoning ordinance 8514 and send the amending ordinance to the City Council with a favorable recommendation. Is there such a motion?
I so move.
Commissioner Hutton?
Second.
Yes, sir.
Herbert.
Commissioner Herbert makes a second. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Motion's been made by Commissioner Hutton, seconded by Commissioner Herbert. Mrs. Morris-Smith, may we have a roll call, please?
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Dean Button,
Yes.
Alex D'Lo,
Yes.
Ann Herbert,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Yes.
Dan Spitali,
Yes.
Sharon Zaney,
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you, Mrs. Morris-Smith. I would also entertain a motion, if the commissioners will oblige, that we approve this staff request report as amended and it be adopted by this commission as a finding of fact.
I so move, Mr. President.
Commissioner Hutton has moved. Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second. Roger Brock.
Hey, Raj.
Thank you, Mr. Brock. I do believe Councilman Spitali seconded.
That's fine.
Been a motion made by Commissioner Hutton, seconded by Councilman Spitali to adopt the amended staff report as a finding of fact. Roll call, Ms. Morris-Smith.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Dean Button,
Yes.
Alex D'Lo,
Yes.
Ann Herbert,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Yes.
Dan Spitali,
Yes.
Sharon Zaney,
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you, Mrs. Morris-Smith. I appreciate the petitioner's time and the staff's attention on this matter. Any comment, Mrs. Harris? I'm sorry, you seem to have an open mic. No? Okay, good.
I just tell you all, thank you very much for your time this evening.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here in attendance. We will move on to the next agenda item of Miguel A. Rubius, beg your pardon, to reclassify property at 1224 177th Street from S2 Industrial District to R1 Single Family Residential District to construct, operate, and maintain a single-family home within the city of Hammond, Lake County, Indiana. Is the petitioner here to make a presentation?
Mr. President.
I'm sorry, first of all, before we do that, I beg your pardon. Has the notification requirements been met, Mrs. Morris-Smith?
They have.
Thank you kindly. Okay,
Mr. President,
yes, Mr. Poland.
just a correction, read it, you said S2 industrial, it's S2 institutional.
Sorry, thank you for the correction. Now, sir, we are ready for you.
Hi, good evening. So yeah, I bought the house in January. It's a beautiful home. It's got a great structure, but it needs a lot of work, a whole lot of work. One of the first things I wanted to do was put up a fence, and I went to try to pull a permit and was denied because of the zoning. That I guess it's not permitted to put up a fence in that type of zoning, even though it was, I guess, considered. I mean, it was a residence, you know. I forget what it's the term for it, but it wasn't. It's not residential zone, right? So anyways, for that reason, they wouldn't allow me to put the fence up. And I mean, there's a ton of things that I need to do that I still want to do that I don't know that I'd be able to pull the permits for with that zoning. So pretty much, I just want to get that all taken care of so that I can get it fixed up and move my family in there.
Wonderful. Is there any questions from the commissioners of the petitioner?
Mr. President, I believe there is a fence that's around that property right now. Is that from the existing baseball complex that's behind it? Because there's some going on each side. I drove by there.
No, there was an existing fence on one side, and I used the same posts. I started to change those out. I guess I didn't know that I needed the permit for, to change those out. I thought I only needed a permit for the front of the house, and I was waiting on a plat of survey. So, I mean, I was still going to pull the permit, but I was waiting on a plat of survey, which I didn't have yet. I started to do the side because I thought I could. I didn't know that I couldn't, and that's why that fence started to go up.
Okay. Mr. President?
Mr. Bowen.
Yeah. When the fence issue arose earlier this year, obviously Lakeisha Girder was on staff at the time. And we had a lot of discussion about the fence that's on the east side of the property. There is a narrow strip of land that separates the parcel that the house is on from the rest of the residential property. That narrow strip of land goes back to the baseball fields. And the fence there is actually inside the strip of land. And therefore we had a lot of discussion that when the new fence is, when the fence would be allowed to go up, the plat of survey was necessary in order to actually define where that parcel line was or the property line was, so that the fence is put in the correct location and not on the city-owned property. And that I believe if Mr. Westland, I think if you remember our conversations, we had discussion that we would expect that the current fence would be removed, and with the once the new fence is located in the proper location. In a lot of respects, what the nature of this petition is making a correction to the zoning district. The S classification zoning district that it is under currently an S2. It was previously an S1 under the pre-2003 zoning ordinance, which was institutional and open space. And the 2003 ordinance split those into two districts. So the previous S1 district went to an S2 district. That S1 classification goes back to the 1981. As to what the Planning Commission and the Council was contemplating in 1981, obviously none of us were really here at that time, but it is a large piece of property, and I can guess that they were expecting it to be an expansion of the school that was there at the time, or some other type of open space. But this house has been there since 1890, according to the assessor's records, and the the intent of the request is to change the zoning to be in keeping with the residential use.
Thank you, Mr. Poland. Not sure if that answered your question, Mr. Spitali. Does that suffice?
I just had a question on the east side. There's some posts, looks like could have been an alley, or was that from, who owns that property, Brian?
It's not a designated alley. It is a strip of land owned by the city of Hammond.
Okay,
But it's a part. It's a narrow. It's a neck of a property that goes back to a larger piece that's in the baseball fields.
it widens out going toward the field is what you're saying, right?
To the south, yes.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Thank you, Councilman. Is there any other questions of the petitioner?
No, I don't have any.
Thank you. I guess I would now, thank you. I would turn it over to Mr. Poland, if you'd like to make a presentation about the subject. We've heard quite a bit. If there's any additional information Mr. Poland would like to share prior to the public hearing.
Sorry if I jumped the gun, but I thought that information was important.
It's always important, yes.
Yeah. Tom, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
No, not really. Just that I've been involved with this. I actually put up the stop work order back in January regarding the fence that catalyzed this whole thing. So, I can't verify for what he's saying. And, yeah, that easement to the east, that's just, I think BP has an easement under it. So we will make sure the fence is moved so that BP has full access to that easement, which runs under the walking path. So
Thank you, Mr.
I'll make sure to observe.
Thank you. Anything more, Mr. Poland?
Not at this time.
Thank you. At this point, I would ask the commissioners if they have any questions of either Mr. Poland or Mr. Novak. Being none, I would now open a public hearing for this action. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on behalf of this petition? Is there anyone in the public wishing to speak in opposition of this petition? Is there anyone in the public wishing to comment on this petition? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Does the petitioner wish to add any more discussion regarding the petition?
No, nothing, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. May I have a staff report and recommendation elaborated from your earlier comments, please, Mr. Poland?
I mean, the basic premise of what we're talking about here is trying, again, as I stated earlier, we're trying to make the zoning classification correspond to how the property is being used. And, there's a lot of value when we look at some of the state criteria that we have to go through to make a recommendation. The comprehensive plan talked about that this property could be used for low density residential. So that is in compliance or with what is being proposed. And then, it is located by the Columbia Avenue overpass that goes over the Borman Expressway. And there's residential on the east side as well as the baseball fields to the south. So the values should be stabilized when it comes to a property being zoned in a manner in which it is being used. So therefore, the staff does recommend that the Plan Commission forward the petition to the City Council with a favorable recommendation. And if the Plan Commission agrees with the recommendation, the staff requests that the staff report would be adopted by the Plan Commission as findings of fact.
Any question from Mr. Poland from the commission? Any question from Mr. Poland?
The owner for this fence, he has a copy of the survey?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I would just say that I was reflecting with my colleague here at work today, Mr. Covarrubias. I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly.
Yes, that was perfect.
Okay, good. And we, both of us didn't even know there was a home back there. And so I would just reflect that what you're doing is wonderful. I think it's a great opportunity, and I definitely support what you're doing.
Thank you.
Sure. So if there are no other comments or questions and the board does not object, I would entertain a motion of this commission to forward the petition to the city council for a favorable recommendation. Is there such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Councilman Spitali, seconded by Commissioner Kazmierzak. Is there any discussion on the petition? Any discussion? I would ask Mrs. Morris Smith for a roll call vote, please.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Dean Button,
Yes.
Alex D'Lo,
Yes.
Ann Herbert,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Yes.
Dan Spitali,
Yes.
Sharon Zaney,
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you. And I would also entertain a motion to adopt this staff report as a finding of fact.
I'll make the motion.
So moved, Dan Herbert.
Councilman Spitali moves, Commissioner Herbert seconds. I would ask for a roll call vote if there's no discussion. Mrs. Morris Smith.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Dean Button,
Yes.
Alex D'Lo,
Yes.
Ann Herbert,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Yes.
Dan Spitali,
Yes.
Sharon Zaney,
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you. Congratulations to Mr. Covarrubias.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And we look forward to having you expand your area. I know that you have a lot to do. There's still a couple steps that have to follow, but we appreciate you coming to our meeting and making a wonderful presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Is there any other new business?
No.
Thank you. Item number 6, correspondence. Any correspondence to present to the Plan Commission?
No correspondence.
No correspondence. Any, item number 7, commissioner comments. Would anyone from the commission wish to make a comment? No comments. Is there number 8, staff comments?
At this point, we are not anticipating a meeting next month. So you'll get a nice little break.
Great. Seeing some smiling faces. Number 9 item is public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to address the Plan Commission at this time? Anyone from the public wishing to address the Plan Commission? Being none, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make the motion.
Councilman
So moved,
Spitali,
Mr. President.
seconded by Mr. Hutton. All in favor signify by saying
Yes, sir.
aye.
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 Thank you.
Aye.
Have a great evening.
See you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.